What music is that I hear?
Something to try and make you feel at home.
Hey guys, what's up? My name is Sanjay and welcome to the Gentleman's Plate. Today we're making Gio Chay, which is a vegan Vietnamese spring roll, or like an egg roll. They're the deep fried kind, basically. This recipe is super easy. Do not be intimidated. This all comes together in a snap. Alright, so the first thing we need are wood ear mushrooms. I know that the package says black fungus mushrooms, but they're the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and put the Amazon link for you down below. Alright, next up we're going to need bean vermicelli noodles. This is very important, guys. This is made out of mung beans. You don't want to use the rice noodle. This one is actually kind of clear and they're more bouncy, more chewy. How do you tell? You can just look at the back of the ingredients. It should be 100% mung bean starch and not rice or any other fillers. Next, for the spices, we're going to need about a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of pepper, a teaspoon of sugar, and some people, since this is a vegetarian recipe, will put a little bit of MSG if you're trying to avoid that. Something more natural is this mushroom seasoning powder. Now for aromatics, I've got a handful of garlic cloves here. You only really need 4 to 5 garlic cloves. I'm also using 3 small red shallots. If you don't have shallots, you can use a medium onion, like half an onion, and some green onions. I've got 4 pieces of green onion here. Carrot is one of the big stars of the show. To save time, I'm using shredded carrot. And of course, the other big star of the show is taro root. If you've never used taro root, it comes in the store looking like a big hairy potato. This one is already peeled and vacuum sealed. It's kind of like double the price, but it's just a lot easier. You're going to need about 150 grams of this, so this is way too much. I end up just shredding what I need and freezing the rest. Now, because this is plant-based for the meat, I'm using Beyond Burger patties. I'm using patties because it was on sale. You can use the ground, you can use Impossible Burger, whatever meat you can get on hand. Now, if you're against using mock meats, you can use mashed up tofu. The traditional way of making these vegetarian in Vietnam is using mashed up mung beans. It's basically just a binder. Now, for the wrappers, don't use these wrappers. I'm showing you these wrappers because these are the wrong wrappers. These are more like the Chinese egg roll wrappers that you get from takeout. They're different because they're thicker, they're more wheat dough. And these are the wrappers you want to get, guys. These are the thinner, more translucent, more crispy Vietnamese egg roll wrappers. The main difference is you can find this in the freezer while the other one is in the fridge. This is completely vegan. It's got some soybean oil and salt. Now, when you put them side by side, it's quite easy to tell which one is more of like the dough sheet and which one is more of like the crispy wrapper. It really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they both turn out delicious. Just the one on the right is the one I prefer. Alright, step 1. We're going to get a couple of cups of water and get it to just steaming, not boiling. Now you need to divide the water between 2 heat-safe bowls. And then we're going to bust out our kitchen scale because we need to measure exactly 15 grams of mushrooms. That's 15 grams dry. We'll take our mung bean noodles. This is 40 grams of mung bean noodles, and we're going to toss that into the water along with our wood ear mushrooms. Those go in the water as well. You can use your finger to just kind of make sure they're all submerged. And we're going to let these hang out for about 10 minutes. Next, we're going to prep our aromatics. I'm using 5 cloves of garlic, 4 scallions or green onions, and 3 small shallots. You can again use a half an onion if you'd like instead. And there's our aromatics. When your 10 minutes are up, you want to go ahead and strain your noodles and run it under some cold water to stop the cooking process. Now, one of the major tips of success for making really great spring rolls or egg rolls is to get as much moisture out as possible. You want to put it in a cheesecloth or a dish towel in this case and squeeze out moisture, because any water that's left over will cause your egg rolls to explode. Now we just repeat the same step with the wood ear mushrooms. We're going to go ahead and rinse them off, and we want to get as much water out as possible with these guys as well. Now we just take our wood ear mushrooms and slice them up into thin strips. It's probably easier if you stack them up into a nice tight bundle. That makes it easier to cut. They also sell these mushrooms dried in strips already, like already shredded, so I'll put a link for those as well, so you can skip that step. And for the noodles, we'll just take some clean kitchen scissors, chop them up because we want them nice and bite-sized. Now for the carrots, we want to measure out 150 grams of carrots, which you can actually shred yourself, but I find this pre-packaged one a lot easier to use. Now for the taro, you're going to want to clean and peel it. Mine was already clean and vacuum sealed. And we want to measure out 150 grams or closest to 150 grams as possible. Don't worry about whatever's left over, you can freeze this for future use. Now to shred your vegetables, I really love this box grater that I got from Amazon. I've tried a lot of different like handheld peelers, a lot of different julienne machines and slicers, but this one's great because it has different blades and I like to use the thicker blade here. And it's pretty simple, you just run your taro through it. There's also a finger guard, you want to protect your fingers. but it makes perfectly uniform thick slices here. Now with like the other vegetables and the other ingredients, you want to squeeze out as much liquid as possible. I should have really done this for the carrots as well, which I forgot to do, but the point is to get as much liquid out as you can. Now for the spices is a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of sugar, a teaspoon of black pepper, and about a tablespoon of mushroom seasoning. And we're gonna go ahead and incorporate our meat. Now again, I'm using the Beyond Burger patties only because they were on sale. It's what I had. They were on, they were out anyways. You can definitely use the 1 pound ground. We need 1 pound of meat here. And you know, it's just whatever. You can also use Impossible Burger or tofu if you'd like. Now to mix it, I'm just going from bottom upwards. I want to make sure we incorporate all those seasonings and all those aromatics. You can definitely make this filling up to like a day ahead. Just keep it in your fridge in a nice covered bowl. So here we are the next day. If you're going to go ahead and refrigerate your stuffing, you want to pull it out at least an hour before you start wrapping so that it can come to room temperature. And you want to set up a nice clean area for your wrapping station. Alright, so this is the hardest part of the recipe, but trust me, if you do this, you'll thank me later. Before you start wrapping, start pulling apart your sheets carefully, one by one, so that they're ready to go. Alright, so to keep my wraps uniform, I'm going to use a mini cookie scoop. I'm using 2 scoops, and then I'm going to shape it into a log so that everything is going to close nice and tightly. The furthest point away from you, I'm going to pull it forward and give it like 1 small roll to get the little envelope started. Then you're going to take the quarters, fold over, and side over, fold the corner in and side over until you get something that looks like a little envelope. Now to seal it, we're going to use a 1-to-1 flour-water ratio little slurry. It's literally 1 tablespoon flour to 1 tablespoon water. Put that on the end. And when we're ready to roll, here's a pro tip, guys. As you're rolling, you want to pull apart, like pull to the sides. I don't know how to explain it, but as you're rolling, pull outwards so that your roll is going to be nice and thin and basically nice and tight. Now if you're not sure how to do it again, you can always look at the back of the package. There's always some kind of diagram to help. I find it easy to just make my own little assembly line. Usually you have someone helping you or this is like a family affair, but because my wife is busy watching the baby, I just try to do like 3 at a time here using the same fold over method. Again, we want to make that envelope and seal it with that flour slurry. You can use kind of any kind of flour. If you have wheat flour or white flour, it doesn't matter. And then you just want to keep going here until, you know, all corners are sealed up. And of course, another pro tip, if you're doing this by yourself, you want to make sure you keep like a moist towel or kitchen towel on top of your unused wraps. They will dry up very fast, actually. And if you don't do this, you're going to end up with a sheet like this. It's going to be kind of hard and really unusable. Now here we are, guys, to the fun part. It's time to deep fry. I know it's a little intimidating, but really it does really help to have a really good thermometer. You really want to get the oil up to 340 to 360 degrees. It's really important to get that perfect temperature because we want to make sure the inside is completely cooked while also preventing the outside from burning. So about 350 is your target range. And then between 4 to 5 minutes at 350 degrees, you have perfectly golden spring rolls. I just take it out and I put it in a little strainer basket upright so that we can drain off any excess oil. Nobody wants to eat all that extra oil. The proportions for this recipe will make about 25 to 26 spring rolls. That's a lot of spring rolls for anyone to eat. So we're going to make half the batch now to enjoy. And the second half of the batch, we're going to go ahead and fry and freeze for later. So instead of cooking it for the full 5 minutes, I'm going to go about 2.5–3 minutes until they're just slightly golden, until the wrapper on the outside is just cooked enough. You'll see a nice tan color. Now we'll let it drain again and completely cool. Once it's completely cool, we're going to put it into freezer safe Ziploc bags. We're going to portion out into small portions so that you can just grab them when you want. And to recook them, you just throw them back in the oil, or you can put them in the air fryer for a few minutes until they're nice and golden. And there you have it, guys. This is best served with the vegan fish sauce, which I'll go ahead and put a link in the description below. And if you cut it open, look at that beautiful cross section. It's best served with some lettuce and that delicious spicy dipping sauce. And I hope you like it. It's crunchy, it's salty, it's tasty, it's perfect.